Hey everybody, it's Renee. Glad to see you here. Maybe catch some of you later on a replay. Kind of taking stock of some of the conversations I've had lately with people, and I don't know about you, but I know the holidays are coming. Just a few weeks away, and I'm thinking about my family plans, holiday plans, and everyone I'm talking to is talking about the same stuff. So I just wanted to share a couple thoughts and themes that I have in mind that might be relevant for you as you approach your time with family, friends, and the holidays. A lot of the work that I do with people is helping them come back to a connection to themselves. And when they're used to not doing that for a long time, years, maybe even decades, it's really hard to reconnect. And so stick with me. I'm kind of going back to some old work I used to talk about. I used to do a lot of couples therapy, family therapy, and I talk about the work of John Gottman. He's been around a while. He did a lot of research on the predictors of marriage success or divorce. He's well known for the Four Horsemen related to that. And so one of the things that you might be familiar with about his work, or maybe not, is the concept of making bids for connection. So in our relationships, when we want to be attached and connected with someone, we'll make bids for connection, an invitation, if you will, to be together. And sometimes those bids are met in a reciprocal way. Sometimes the person on the receiving end will not respond. They may even turn away from the bid for connection, like pretend it's not there. And the worst case scenario is they might turn against the person making a bid for connection. So right now, I really just want you to think about some of your most important relationships. That could be your spouse or significant other. It could be your parents. It could be your children that you're caregiving and raising. It could be someone at work. So when we think about making those bids for connection, how are they received and how are they responded to? So there's that. When we make a bid for connection and it's not met, it's not turned towards, then the next logical relational thing that a person will do is engage in protest behavior. And protest behavior can be kind of cute and fun. I mean, if you think about a younger child trying to get your attention, they'll do some funny things to get your attention, okay? But if those needs for attention are not met, they'll begin to protest and engage in some of those behaviors that we find annoying, frightening even, frustrating. And when that happens, most people turn away or turn against. And so whoever has attempted to make that bid for connection, and possibly engaged in protest behavior, they're then stuck with no connection. And if you don't know how to offer them relational repair after that rupture, they just learn to disconnect as their habitual pattern of connecting with themselves and with others. And the message they internalize is, I can't trust you, I can't trust myself, I can't trust others, and I can't trust the world because I can't consistently get my needs met in these primary relationships. So I like to work with clients about how do you make your bids for connection? How do you receive bids for connection? What protest behaviors are you engaging in? How are they working for you? And let's look at some ways to meet your needs for attachment and connection in a more efficient way. Keeping in mind the holidays, some people I work with have what's called a trauma ecosystem. Their family of origin or their created family isn't safe enough to do that sort of repair work with relationships. And where they're at is really just trying to do some inner work and create some safety and stability inside. And so that process really is what we call inner child work. In my 20s, I thought that was the corniest thing. I read books about it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird and out there, but it's so true. Those parts of you that have been seeking connection and haven't received it, they still want your attention. And so what happens is we have these unmet needs and underattended wounds from childhood, just because no one can meet our needs 100% of the time, 100% perfectly. No one. And so when you bring those into adulthood, what often happens is you go out into relationships in the world looking for someone who can meet those needs for you. And that's awesome when it happens, but the best case scenario is that's secondary, not primary. So what I like to say is this: if you have some inner child wounds, as you're an adult, it is your responsibility, it's your ability to respond and to attach and connect inside with the parts of you that need attention. And as you do that, you are then more able, you have more clarity, you have more spaciousness to then approach your other relationships from a different way. And this is like a journey, and it's a process. So I'm looking at my notes to see if I'm covering everything here. Oh yeah, trauma ecosystem. Okay, so a lot of reading I've been doing lately on different social media accounts, and some of the books that I read talks about like what's known as a mother wound or a father wound. And it's really about taking a look at your masculine energy and your feminine energy. We have both, just like we have male hormones and female hormones. We have a combo. And so to be healthy, you want a balance of that. And so people who struggle in their relationships with themselves and with other people often have some under-addressed parental wounds, often both mother and father. And that can look like parents that were, that maybe had poor boundaries, like they were too involved, kind of intrusive, or worse, or the opposite. Maybe they were physically present but emotionally checked out. Maybe they worked a lot of jobs to put food on the table. Whatever the reason, there was some need that wasn't met. And what happens generationally is that tends to get passed down across generations until a cycle breaker stops and goes, oh, this pattern keeps repeating itself. How can we alchemize this? How can I meet my needs? How can I show up differently in my relationship with my parents? And how can I show up differently in my relationship with my own children? So that's something to put on your radar. Masculine energy, the father piece, tends to provide structure, support, containment, protection, discipline, in a teaching kind of way, not in a punishing kind of way. And then, feminine energy is much more emotional, flowy, organic, and also very empowered when it's balanced. So I could go on and on about that topic, but that's something to think about. And so I'll leave you with these questions. It's kind of like a self-assessment. How do you turn towards yourself? How do you pay attention to yourself? And are you actively turning away from your inner world or against your inner world? And then also, how are you showing up in your relationships with others? Are you turning towards those bids for connection? Are you turning away mindlessly, unconsciously, or on purpose? Or are you turning against? And are you willing to do some relational repair work? It's okay to make mistakes in relationships. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. The growing edge is, how do you repair? How do you repair the rupture? So one of the things I'll say with my clients, especially new clients, is, I'm going to get it wrong. Like, I'm going to miss a cue. I'm going to have poor timing at some point in something that I say. I'm going to miss something. There will be a relationship rupture at some point. And I want you to let me know so that I have the opportunity to repair that with you. And that's what I want for you in your important relationships. So I hope that was helpful. For me, when I think about the holidays or visits home with family, especially if it's a tricky kind of family situation, it's helpful to pregame before you are around people that might be difficult or challenging for you, and it's helpful then to post game and give yourself time to debrief, to process, to receive support if you need it. And so I do have a couple sessions open Monday and Tuesday. Let me know if you'd like to have a coaching or therapy session virtually, or think about it for after the holidays. That's usually when a lot of people pick up the phone or send a text or an email. Hope this was helpful for you. If you want to put in comments something that you are working on towards your relationship with others or with yourself, I'd love to see where you're growing and where you're getting stuck. That'll be good food for thought for me as I think about content for the next year. So thanks for being here. Be in touch soon. Take good care of yourself, connect inside, and be sure to reach out to reset.